What's up, guys? Welcome back to Breakout Trading. It is day one of our Trade Zero Small Account Challenge, and it is a small red day today. So I'm going to be going over the two trades I made. I traded Beyond Meat here and ADIL today. Tried to get a secondary bounce off this short squeeze here, but looked like it was just a one and done. So yeah, I'll be going over those two trades in this video. So we're going to start off by just saying, what the morning was like. The morning, there was tons of gappers this morning. We had, in order of the biggest to smallest, there was, why this isn't working. Okay, for some reason. Oh, there we go. Okay, so AMP is gapping up huge. And I'm not going to read the news. The news doesn't actually matter to me. It just matters if there's follow-through or not. Usually the news kind of gets these things the initial pop, and then it's just up to market factors whether they have continuation or not, unless it's like absolute breaking news, but I don't really think there was any of that today. So there was AMP, HUSA, USEG was popping, gapping up. PED, ARTL, GRNQ, MXC, BRN, WWR, Flux, NOVS, GBR, LMFA, CEI, and MCEP were the ones I had on watch. And what is one thing you notice about every single one of these? They all faded today. So that's kind of why I came over to Trade Zero in the first place, is I want to learn to play these fades. Like this thing's, look at here, up here, if you're shorting below VWAP when this first thing got there, it was at like $10, $9, and right now it's at $4. So you made like $4 or $5 a share shorting this thing all the way down. So that is the reason partly that I came to Trade Zero, is because I'm absolutely sick of trying to long these things when they only want to move down. And I'm not willing to get up at 4 a.m. to trade these things pre-market when they're actually moving up. So yeah, I actually checked out a couple locates today. I checked out U1. I actually check this out. So right here, I was looking at locates on U1 when it was up here at 762, because I thought this thing could be a potential short, and for 100 shares, I guess 100 shares is the minimum you can locate. It would have been $15, so that's kind of expensive, but that's part of the game. And where are we right now? So 762, you can see that that would have been an absolutely epic short entry right there. Obviously, that would have been a front side short entry. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to enter in these parabolics front side and get absolutely squeezed and wrecked. But what I do want to do is enter in something like AMP here, where you can see that it's chopping up below VWAP. And then, for instance, maybe when it breaks, this support here, you can enter in a short, or if you're already in a short with your stop loss over VWAP, you could move your stop loss down above here, etc. I don't have any short plays yet, but I'm definitely scanning and getting myself exposed to that. I also did try to locate some shorts, just playing around for ADIL. And they were only $4.50 a share, but that's when this thing was all the way down here at 220. So that's the dangers of shorting front side. I would have been down over 100%. Just under 100% at the top here. So yeah, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to short these parabolics front side, but I do want to capitalize a bit more on the backside moves and the fades of these. Yeah, so that was our our morning gappers, and just kind of showed you guys what was up with all those. And now I will get into the actual trades. So you can see here is the order history. First thing of the day was Beyond. So all morning there wasn't much. It was basically just chop, endless chop with all those little small caps, halts, and bullshit. But then Beyond popped up here, and I noticed that it was a really nice setup, one of the ones that I love to trade, like a bullish pennant setup here. And also, if you look on the daily chart here, we were actually breaking out. Let me just get rid of this one. We were actually breaking out above this prior high here, and we kind of formed this rounding bottom here, and I thought we'd maybe be able to pop our heads up a bit more and then sell off a bit. But that's about as far as we ended up getting there. Yeah, so the high here was at 167. So I was also trying to use 167 right here as a bit of a tool to see how far along we were. But anyways, so I came across BYND, and it was in this pennant, and I wanted to give a long a shot. You know, you can see it's holding above VWAP, and I wanted to see if it could make a move, you know, break out of this trend line and make a move up past the high of day and up into this space we have over top. Tons of volume on the day. It had some news involving Walmart. So good news, great gap. This one was going to be moving a bit slower just because it's a bigger market cap, and I knew that, and I was comfortable. I've traded BYND once before short, and I know roughly how it moves. It's a bit slower, it's a bigger cap name, so I was ready to go. So I actually typed this up here, and this is what I'm going to be doing every day. It's a daily report card kind of thing for my trades, just so that I can, you know, make everything really organized instead of just having random screenshots and stuff. So this is day one. We're down 683 including fees. So that's my two trades, both being losers, small losers. I actually sold half of this Beyond Meat accidentally, and I'll go over that. So I took two trades today, both longs, both losers. Overall execution today, I would rate a 6.5 out of 10, and I'll go over how I kind of am going to be rating my my execution on the day. So in the AM, there were tons of gappers, almost enough to be a little overwhelming. I was very patient and didn't take a trade because they were extremely volatile and were halting every 5 minutes. I couldn't find an A-rated setup, so I sat on my hands. There was one stock, HUSA, where I saw a potential support resistance flip setup, but it looked very heavy and it wasn't ideal. It ended up failing, so I was happy I didn't take a non-perfect trade and lose capital for no good reason. So the one I was referring to there was right here. So you can see pre-market we had this high, this high, this high. So I drew a bit of a resistance line there. We popped above, and we actually halted up here when we popped up way up here. And then upon resumption, this thing slammed down right to here, bounced around a bit, and right at this point, so right around here, I was like, oh crap. Right around here, I was eyeing this thing for a long, but then it eventually broke down, got halted, resumed, chopped around a bit more, and then eventually broke clearly down from that level that I was watching, and continued to use that level as resistance throughout the day. That and VWAP, and I guess it just faded. So yeah, I'm glad I did not take that trade, because that would have been a failure. Although it was a half decent setup, you can see that triple top pre-market, and we flipped it. But it was too whippy this morning. All these things were like so whippy and choppy, so I'm glad I didn't step in there. Then at 11 a.m. market time, I finally saw a great setup. BYND was gapping up on the day, and it looked like it had lots of momentum. It had consolidation. It had consolidated into a bullish pennant. So on these daily report cards, there's going to be the bolded letter is the ticker, and then the underlined one is the setup that I trade. So I have 5 setups I trade. They're going to be underlined, so that when I'm scrolling through, I can quickly just look, oh, BYND bullish pennant. ADIL, washout long play. We'll go over that one in a second. So nice, quick, and easy to scam. I waited for the breakout and went long, risking $18, but as it was breaking out, there was 2 issues, and I think that is the reason it failed. So we'll go back over to Beyond Meat. So like I wrote down, this thing eventually decided to break out of this triangle here. Really nice one, honestly. I was waiting patiently. Boom, right here we have a breakout, and you can see a slight increase in volume. So I got long right there, 8 shares, and my stop loss was at 166. So it was right underneath this VWAP level and kind of these you know, ticks below VWAP. So I didn't want to put it way underneath this level, and I'll go over why in a second. But I had it at 166 right here. My entry was at 167.85. So we popped up here, and I just by habit just took off half right there. So I actually sold 4 shares there at 169, getting $1.15 gain per share, and that netted me up on the day like 450, but I still had the other half in, and that's actually a minus on the execution score because I need to be holding these for a 3-to-1 risk to reward, and I can't just keep taking off it as soon as I'm in the money, because then the risk wasn't worth it. So that is actually a minus. Should not have done that. Even though it prevented me from a bigger loss today, I shouldn't have done it. So that's how I'm going to start thinking. We kind of rolled over here. I was really thinking this thing would have like a secondary pop and a secondary continuation and break the high up here at 170. But after that breakout, we can see that the volume just kind of peters off and the thing just came crashing down. And right there, I stopped out the other half there at 166.57, right when we broke below VWAP. You can see we tried to bounce off it right here once. Weren't able to. And I stopped out right here. And the reason I stopped out right there and not below this red support line is because I figured if this stock even came back near VWAP, that was already a red flag. And the second it broke VWAP, well, it's probably going to flip VWAP as resistance, and then it's only got one place to go, is right down here. And then there's going to be lots more stop losses underneath. So basically, it's just going to kind of cascade stop losses once it breaches VWAP. And I didn't want to. I'd rather just take the loss quickly and wait for it to set up again rather than kind of like hope and pray, like, oh, it's below VWAP, but maybe this will hold, or oh, it's below here, but maybe this will hold. No, I just want to get out as soon as it looks weak, and that's what I did there. So overall, this trade lost me 352. As it was breaking out, there was 2 issues. It was in the middle of lunch hour, so not an ideal volume time, and the SPY was actually dropping during this time. So if you look at around 11, I look at the bottom here, right here. If you look at around 11 o'clock to 12, I'll go to the SPY. And right here is 11, and then 11 to 12-ish area, we were just in a heavy downtrend. So not ideal at all for a larger cap like BYND to be trying to break out. So yeah, that one failed. Technically, I should have lost $20 there, but I sold half, and that's what saved me, is when I sold half. But that's not good. I'm not going to make that a habit. Even though I lost less money, I didn't execute properly. Yeah, so there's this picture of the setup. This is for my sort of records. We had a break above. We were looking like we were setting up like we wanted to break through that daily level. Here's a picture of the breakout over daily resistance. Here is my, I guess I could just show you here. So that's the setup. When I saw it, you can see that there wasn't a volume pop yet, so I was waiting for that. Here is when I entered the trade. You can see we had our little volume spike there to indicate that this pattern wanted to break. And we had our stop loss right there at 166, and it was a range order, so we had a limit order to sell half of our position, the only half we had left there, up there at 173.40. And then this is just a picture that you guys already saw of us getting stopped out. I already explained this reason. You can pause it and read that if you want. And there was no volume continuation at all for this. So kind of just a pop and drop right there situation. Overall, the execution was pretty good, except that I technically should not have taken off half after the pop. So the way I'm going to kind of measure my my execution is it's going to start at a score of 10, and every time I mess up, I'm going to take off a point. So that's a minus a point. I took off half instinctually. I literally just hit the hotkey, and I was like, oh crap, I'm supposed to be holding this because that's just what I've been doing so long. So that's time to change. I'm holding these things till either it loses or I get a 3-to-1. So yeah, took off half after the pop. That's -1. And I should have been cautious of lunchtime breakouts as well as what the SPY was doing. So that minus point is for not paying attention to the external factors. Honestly, I probably would have taken this trade again, even if it was around lunchtime and the SPY was dropping. Maybe not the SPY, but even if it was around lunchtime, I would have taken this. But the SPY tanking and this being a larger cap stock definitely was not in my favor. Okay, so that was BYND. Overall, pretty good trade. Pretty happy with it. You can see that we kind of just crapped out all day. I didn't miss out on anything because I stopped out. It was a good stop out, and it popped. Didn't really get it back above VWAP at all, so I kind of got like the best exit there. Yeah, that was a good stop out. ADIL, however, was kind of like a creeper pharmaceutical company. It kind of popped during the morning, and then it was just underneath VWAP all day until this monstrous move. So obviously, I didn't really expect this to happen. I don't think anyone did. And I didn't want to chase it. You know, I saw it popping up over VWAP here, but these setups just have not been paying out these late afternoon pops. This one did, however. It broke through the high, and then it also broke through this, where was it? This double top area up here. So you can see we have a high here and a high here, and that is there at 317. So that is definitely an area of resistance, and you can see we even have a bit of resistance here, so, and even support here. So that was a key area right there, and I thought breaking through that would have really you know, meant something. This thing ripped up. I didn't take any frontside entries because it just felt like chasing the whole time, but when it pulled back, I saw on the 1 minute chart as we were pulling back. And you know, you never really know when front side's over, right? So the trend is your friend until the end of trend, and the trend ended. So as when I saw this wick there, I thought that that could be an area of potential support right there. So you can put a line right there. And I used a Fibonacci a bit here, but it didn't really seem like it was respecting any Fibonacci levels. And the previous high of day was a little bit too far away. And VWAP was also a bit too far away for this thing. So I was hoping that it would find some sort of support midway. Anyways, we started to come down here, and you can see the low of this candle is 283, and the low of this candle is 284. So I realized, okay, there's some support here at this 284 level. You can see we're starting to wick kind of off it. You can see that these 3-minute candles had big shadowing tails, so it was indicating that there was some bids there at that level. And basically I was just waiting for some sort of volume pop, and you can see how we're kind of consolidating here. I wanted to see a breakout over $3 and then for this thing to just keep squeezing. So once we saw a bit of a break here at 298 or whatever it was, I got in there with 20 shares at 299, just marketed myself in, and my stop loss was at 275. So a nice tight stop loss right below that level I was just talking about, and I had a sell limit up here at 375 for a 3-to-1 risk to reward. And in my previous video on how I started this account, you can see how I used to calculate those really fast. You got to be able to calculate those in literally 2 seconds or you will miss your entry, and that is what I used that Excel sheet for in my previous video. Yeah, so I got long here, it popped for a second, and honestly, if it was going to go, this was the candle that it was going to go with. Right here, it would have pulled back and it would have just kept going. But as soon as it didn't keep going and the volume dried up, I knew it was probably donezo. Came down again here, tested this as support again, kind of popped up, but you can see that we were not making any progress. And at this point, it was a minute or two until the market closed, so I just decided to cut it there for about like a 7-cent loss or something. 6-cent loss actually, so pretty minuscule paper cut loss there. It was worth a shot. It had a massive move. Like, this volume came out of absolutely nowhere up here in the millions per candle. Like, look at the volume on this thing. It got all the way up to 7. Like, look at that front side volume. That's insane. For there to just be no bounce, it's like, come on, man. There was a small bounce here, obviously, but it was after market hours. Yeah, so that was that. My stop loss technically didn't get hit, but it also never reached my profit target. You can see it came down here again after hours, tried to bounce off that level once more, cracked it here, and now it's flipping it as resistance. So So yeah, that's it for ADIL. Just a bit of a paper cut loss on there. It was worth the shot. It was a huge, huge frontside move. Wrecked the shorts, got over this daily high, and yeah, I thought that it would definitely be able to hold up. Maybe we'd be able to get back over 317, bounce off that, and continue up into after hours squeeze. If it started squeezing, I would have held it after hours, but it just didn't. So yeah, that's that. Later in the afternoon, basically everything I just said. So yeah, the play on this was a washout long. So basically just longing those front side parabolic moves on a pullback. This one pulled back a little too far to call it a washout long, but it was still good. Nice wash, find support, and then look for that continuation. I had my hand on the trigger waiting and waiting for a bottom to be formed. I sized down on this to only a $5 loss because I knew it was going to be harder to manage risk on, and it was 20 minutes before the bell, and I actually took off a point for execution there because I have to stick to that that $18 loss, $20 loss plus fees, because that's how I'm going to be successful. Is I don't want to keep making $4 or $5 on winning trades. I want to make $50, $60 on winning trades. So minus there for being a pussy. I knew it was not an A+ setup, but it was the second best one I'd seen all day. It was not an A+ setup, so I -3 off the execution there. I only trade A+ setups, so that one was a -3. I had a bit of FOMO maybe. Still was a good setup. I'm not disappointed on it. Managed my risk really well, but it wasn't an A+ setup. BYND was, so that one didn't get a minus. I took the long with small size and I popped for a second, then looked heavy, so I got out before my pre-planned stop loss was hit. That's also a minus point there because you can see that it never actually hit my stop loss in this photo. My stop loss is there at $2.75, and you can see that it never got down there here, and it actually ended up popping up all the way up here to 340. So I could have probably sold here just because it was markets closed, and you know my stop never got hit, so that's a minus because selling emotionally before your stop loss is hit is not a good way to trade. There wasn't much green volume after that front side move, and now I thought that there was probably, now the shorts were trapped on this front side move, and now it's probably the longs who were trapped all chasing this pump, so they're going to want to sell on any bounce, which they did right here, plus shorts piled on right here and risked over this high. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That one netted me down 331 including fees. And this is just a picture of the thing. Overall execution was meh. I didn't risk my planned $18. I sold before my take profit or stop loss was hit, and it was not an A+ setup, so this one gets a rating of 5 out of 10. The average of the 5 out of 10 and the 8 out of 10 is 6.5 out of 10 on the day. So that's it. That is my day today. Day one down 683. That's no big deal. We can definitely bounce back from that. It was a great managed risk. 2, 1, good setup. One good setup today. The other one questionable. Yeah, I should have just left this alone. Like if I'm only going to risk $5, what's even the point? Because I'm only going to make like 10. So I should have just left this. I should have just stuck with BYND. And BYND, I should have held and hoped that it would actually have continuation. So technically I should be down $20 right now today, and that would have actually given me a higher execution score than I have right now. That's it, guys. Adios.